I was expecting judgment or expecting all the things I had gotten from all these other gurus, like, oh, and we had a moment of recognition
Hmm.
and we just smiled at each other. It was just like meeting an old friend, I have to say. It was really, really a recognition. All it is, and it brings back some beautiful, joyful memories about
Yeah.
just that moment. It stays with me where we just met eyes, and then I don't know if he smiled first, maybe he did, but maybe I no, I think he probably did. And I smiled. It's like we knew each other. It was like a recognition. We as a reacquaintance.
Welcome to the Supernatural Souls podcast. I'm Jenna Layden, your host. I'm also a former global vice president for Whole Foods Market, a former atheist, and the founder of Star Family Wisdom, a modern day mystery school for your spiritual and cosmic evolution. You're probably wondering how a former atheist ended up here, so we'll get into that soon. To make a long story short, I had some help from a very specific group of supernatural souls. And on this podcast, we explore the lives, teachings, and energies of these supernatural souls. In this group, we include Jesus Christ and Mother Mary, who you might be familiar with from the Christian religion, and also Shirdi Sai Baba and Sri Kaleshwar, two Indian saints of the Hindu tradition who helped to reveal the real life, teachings, and spiritual practices of Jesus and his disciples. Here we discover the intersection of Hindu spirituality with Christianity and learn about the lost history and lost spiritual practices that have finally been revealed. The story of this unlikely cast of characters teaming up to deliver the world's most advanced spiritual practices and spiritual technologies will be our focus. Because the supernatural is actually super common. It's just been misunderstood in many ways. In fact, Jesus remembered and activated his supernatural abilities in India with the use of powerful mantra and yantra systems, which were recently found in the ancient Indian palm leaf manuscripts and brought to the world by Saint Sri Kaleshwar. It's not often you find a Jesus temple in an Indian ashram, but after accessing his own past life memories of living and working with Jesus, Saint Sri Kaleshwar accepted his mission to reveal the truth. Sri Kaleshwar took his Mahasamadhi and left Earth in 2012, but he left behind an extraordinary group of healers, students, and some of the most important knowledge in the world. Here we interview the followers and students of Sri Kaleshwar and Shirdi Sai Baba, welcoming the energy, love, and wisdom of these supernatural souls into our lives. Together, we'll discuss the teachings and practices that have been employed by many ancient and modern masters to gain the high divine, supernatural abilities that were once considered magic. So as we explore the lives and wisdom of these supernatural souls and their students, may we all remember ourselves as supernatural souls and embody the true teachings and wisdom of the many masters who have walked before us. We are here with Alan Steinfeld. Alan Steinfeld is a longtime friend and devotee of Swami Sri Kaleshwar. And last year, Alan and I met and had a pretty instant connection. Alan's been in the field of ufology and ET connections for a long time. He's written a best-selling book, Making Contact. And as I was leaving the ashram in April, I posted a photo just reflecting on my time there, and Alan immediately reached out and said, "Oh my gosh, I knew Swami. I was there. Swami married me." And so Alan and I very quickly realized we had this other connection that came into our awareness. So, Alan is one of our first people on the podcast, and I'm just so honored to have you, Alan. And I want to start with, what was it like when you first met Swami? When was that?
Mm.
How did that happen? And, what do you remember about his essence and the energy that was present at the time?
Well, I remember probably almost everything. This was in 2000. But I have to say, just to correct thing, I don't know if I would consider myself a devotee, like of Swami. I feel like I was more of a friend.
Ah,
Um, I mean, I did do some of his mantras, but I liked him. He was just a fantastic person. So what happened was, if you want the long and short of it, is that I was up at the Ramtha school. Do you know the Ramtha school?
yeah, you've talked about that before. Yeah.
Ramtha was a channel, and me and my girlfriend at the time, Paula Sakanos, otherwise known as Paula Gloria, had this friend named George Sobel. On Gray into Swami Kaleshwar. George Sobel is famous or infamous for his wide-reaching um, study, I would say, journey into um, Eastern Hindu mysticism. He was a TM person for a long time, along with Paula and a bunch of people that came to Swami. Jonathan Rosen was a TM person, and some of those early followers were out of the TM movement. Anyway, I'm with Paula at the Ramtha school, and she gets a call from George that Swami Kaleshwar is going to be up in the area where it was Yelm, Washington, up in that, I was somewhere in that area, Rainier, Yelm, Tenino. Um, and so I wasn't sure I wanted to go, but Paula wanted to go. So she escaped from the Ramtha retreat that we're in, climbed over the fence. I don't know why I didn't go there, but somehow it just was something she was really passionate about as soon as she heard about Kaleshwar. And she met Kaleshwar at this retreat that was happening somewhere in Washington State that George was sort of helping to host. And she was really taken. She was open to all that. She was with Maharishi Mahesh Yogi for 20 years and was really just looking for another teacher. She was quite a student of Hinduism. And maybe that was in 1999 that happened. Yeah, I think it was 99 that actually did happen. Right. So she just loved Kaleshwar, even though we're in like a master's place. It was like, Rentha's quite an amazing thing. But the new age and the old age, they don't really mix, and people sort of decide which side they're on. And but anyway, when did I so Paula was really taken. She ends up going to India for, yes, that was there November, December of 99 when Swami did this blood of the cross, um, I guess, ritual or practice where people would make these makeshift crosses. I wasn't there. She told me about this, but Alex was.
Was
Alex
this
and
at the ashram or
this
this
was at the
other place?
ashram.
Okay.
Yeah, so Paula went to the ashram. She was doing all the mantras. She was there for my friend Molly as well, Molly Cheshire. I'm sure she doesn't mind me mentioning her name. And Paula Sakanos went to the ashram to study with Kaleshwar. And she told me all these amazing things that were happening. And I felt like, oh, I definitely have to be there. Eventually, I went to the ashram where Paula was. And I was wondering, how would it be when I when I really connect with Swami Kaleshwar? So I come into the ashram after a long train ride, flying to Bangalore, right? You just flew to Bangalore
Yeah,
and a train
it's a trip.
it is a train to Panaconda, and and then I arrive, and he's sitting outside. Swami used to sit outside the steps of the temple. Is that still there? Kind of
Mhm.
swinging hammock
Yeah. Yeah, he
there.
still has his swing
It's
there.
about
Yeah.
100 feet from the entrance of the temple. that's where he would sit and do his nightly talks, and people would gather around. And so I think I arrived in the evening. He was sitting there. I had met Indian teachers and gurus, and they all had an attitude in the sense that, the struggle I think Westerners have and Eastern teachers have is that, this is just my opinion, I might get a lot of disagreements, is that Eastern teachers think that Westerners are not spiritual at all. They just think they have all the answers. And Westerners think, well, who are these people? They're just like everyone else. So there's this whole prejudice that already happens for some people when some people are just blown away, like Ram Dass when he met Nim Kroli Baba. That was a real master who was like, oh my God, this guy is so full of light and love and just
Yeah.
awakening. But some teachers, there's a lot of pretend gurus out there. If you ever go to
Yeah.
what Kumbh Mela, that's like a guru convention where all these teachers line up and they, a lot. It's I guess it's sort of a prestige
Mhm.
for Eastern teachers to have
Yeah.
Western students. So
We actually had a woman from the lineage go to the Kumbh Mela. I'm not sure if it was last year or the year before. And I think one of the first times a woman has really walked with these gurus. So Swami's legacy is living on in really powerful ways. And it's really interesting you bring up these other gurus, because I had always kind of recognized that, yeah, there's something special going on in the East. Yeah, there seem to be these masters who can do incredible things, with their mind, but I had also been a little turned off by guru culture for a long time. In my spiritual journey, I hadn't really connected with a teacher, from the East until my path crossed, with
yeah.
Swamis, and it just clicked for me that he's the real deal.
I come back to the ashram for the first time. He's sitting on this little, I guess it's like a swing or a couch, and right near the steps, or right down from the steps, from the temple itself, which was a beautiful temple. And I see him. I was expecting judgment or expecting all the things I had gotten from all these other gurus, like, oh, and we had a moment of recognition,
Hmm.
and we just smiled at each other. It was just like meeting an old friend, I have to say. It was really, really a recognition. And it brings back some beautiful, joyful memories about
Yeah.
just that moment. It stays with me where we just met eyes, and then I don't know if he smiled first, maybe he did, but maybe I no, I think he probably did. And I smiled. I was like, we knew each other. It was like a recognition. We as a reacquaintance. It was no trip or nothing like there was none of the other things I had felt with other Eastern teachers. It's like I was meeting an old friend. That was
Mhm.
the moment of recognition.
I
And
just got huge chills, Alan.
yeah,
Yeah.
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 Yeah, and I didn't know what to expect. I don't think I had even seen a picture of him before. I didn't expect him to be, I think he was only 26 when I met him there in, must have been Shivaratri of 2000. I don't know, what year was he born? What year was he
Oh
born?
gosh, I'm not sure. In the late 70s, maybe?
I think he was. So yeah,
Yeah.
he was, he
76? Can't remember, but he
was,
was, yeah, he was a young Swami, like I think a lot of people talk about that, the those first moments of connecting with him and having this kind of this reaction, like, wow, you're kind of young, to be doing this and to be performing these supernatural, abilities, and
yes.
it
So we
kind
had
of
this,
took everyone off guard a little bit.
yes, different type of divine teacher. He says, I want to make masters. I'm not your master. I want to make masters. This is what was so special about him among a lot of Eastern teachers who just want followers. So
Yeah.
he'd lead people through practices. I mean, I did the water mantra when I was creating this event for Emoto in New York. Every day for 40 days, I did the water mantra in my bathtub.
And that's pretty special to be doing that in connection with the Emoto work
Yes,
and the science behind water.
it was the first time Emoto was coming to the US. It was right on the heels of What the Bleep, where he was featured as like the key being person in that movie to show how thoughts are things, vibration is our realities. And so I was bringing him to New York and I did the water mantra.
I've been charging my water. So I've glass jars that I put my water into, and then I charge them on words like gratitude or love or joy, and I like intentionally infuse, the water with that energy and bring it to that vibration. It's like if we have the if we understand the technology, it's similar to the mantras. It's like the mantras shift the water, in our body, shift the energy in our field. So yeah, it's a powerful thing to understand.
Swami put a lot of attention on the mantras, especially the root. The what is he called? The Bijacras, not the
Hmm.
but
The
you know
B,
that
the B,
word.
yeah, the Bijas being the root word that
Mm,
makes up a lot of the mantras, and the root word being like the primal frequency, the root sound of God that
yeah,
creates harmony in the creation.
right. So he paid a lot of attention. If you look at my um what do we call that? I call it puja ceremony, the fire puja that he did in Topanga Canyon for about 70 people. This was at Sridhar's place. Sridhar was the first person to host Amachi when she came to New York. He was a disciple of Muktananda. He brought who's the guy who he spoke at Woodstock? Sridhar brought the guy who was another Indian guru to Woodstock to do a meditation. I mean, Sridhar's a major person in this awakening of Hindu Eastern culture in the US. So I was staying at his place
And
and I told him about
was this one of the first big ceremonies that had happened with Swami here?
maybe it was even the biggest ceremony happened with
Okay.
Swami. We did it outside in Topanga Canyon. And I we videotaped it. I had my camera and two other cameras, and Paula was there sitting right next to Swami. And you've seen it, you said, right?
Yeah. Yeah. We'll link to that too in the show notes.
That's a real because in I mentioned that because in that he gives the correct pronunciation of each of the five elements, and he says it's the pronunciation that carries the frequency and the vibration. So you
Mhm.
have to say the Hindu syllables in the right way in order to get the right effect. That was why I mentioned it. So he's going through the five elements and that ceremony, which was it was a powerful ceremony. You meet someone like Swami who could see through the levels of reality. And a lot of the teachers in Eastern traditions are because they've done the practices that open the neural nets of awareness to that level of understanding. So, and all agree on that he was a beautiful master. He really wanted to help people. He was compassionate. He was sincere. And his mission was to teach. So I
And
think whoever you talk to on this journey here, Jenna, you'll find they might have different opinions of who he was, how he taught, his life, but the core of the essence. And I didn't spend that much time with him. He was very nice to me, but there were people who spent years, maybe 10, 20 years with Swami. And of course, I
I
knew.
think also as a testament to your connection with him, the lives you've lived, he let you interview him for a long time. Like you had some really dedicated, one-on-one time with him there. And what did you interview him about?
Well, first he said he'd never get married in that interview, and then he ends up getting married. So it's like Well, have you seen the interviews? Have
Yeah,
you seen?
yeah, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
You sent them to me after the first trip to the ashram. Yeah.
About his teachings, about maybe he tells a story about how he got initiated by Shirdi Baba, um, and just what his mission was for the planet. That's when he said no, he doesn't want to get. He's devoted to his students, so he wasn't going to get married. That was like his.
Swami asked you what you wanted in life, like as though he was about to grant that wish for you. And you said joy, and then Vibhuti flew out of his hands. How has that manifested in your life?
That's such a beautiful question. Thank you, Jenna. That's really sweet of you. I think, not to compare myself, but I have a pretty good time. You know, I mean, I am doing things I love to do. I'm traveling, I'm meeting beautiful people, resolved a lot of my issues. I mean, I still have stuff to work through, we all do, but I met a lot of great teachers who helped me learn presence. Paul Lowe was another one. Actually, Paul Lowe met Kaleshwar once, and that was great. So I think it's the process of manifestation.
Yeah.
It's not like joy just arrives, but there's moments of joy for me that I don't know is about asking that. I mean, but I'm content for sure. I mean, of course, there's things I still want to do and want to accomplish and want to know about and learn, and people and places and things. And I mean, I'm an Aquarian, and so my adventures and experiences are about knowing and learning and sharing more that Gnostic
Mhm.
wisdom. So I'm teaching remote viewing and really trying to be at the forefront of what's happening in the UFO disclosure movement. That is history in the making. And that gives me the most, in a way, joy or fulfillment that something is shifting about human design, I would say human civilization, that has to do with the other in a way that has not existed before. We are in historic times, and I'm in there with that. I'm in there, maybe not as much as someone like Steve Bassett or Richard Dolan, Linda Moulton Howe are really the masters of that. But those are my teachers, and those are people that I'm in association, close connection with. So the excitement is, and the joy is that we are in the midst of a change. Star Family Wisdom was all about that as well, because and that's what brings joy to me, is that I'm seeing that reality is 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 transmuting right in front of us.
Mm. And you've been such a big part of that for so many people. Through your process of following your passions and allowing that to just carry your life forward, you're helping so many other people find joy. So it's fun to think about how that moment with Swami and has just played out in all of these really beautiful ways.
Well, thank you. That's really
Yeah.
a great way of putting it. Yes, I mean, I didn't really associate, but I've always been a follower of my passion. That's been, I can't think of living any other way except following, even long before Bashar used that. So when I heard Bashar say it, oh yeah, that is what I love to do, follow my passion. Of course, other people have built careers and families and fortunes, and there I am just following my passion. But I met this one guy who was a millionaire, and he was upset with me, and he said, you have more freedom than I have. And and he goes, I'm tied to my golden handcuffs, and you're just traveling around enjoying. And it's like, I mean, he was a nice guy, but there was a little bit of resentment. He built, he worked hard, I'm sure, but it's like,
That's a good
I guess,
reminder, be careful what you wish for, because it
right.
might come
But
true.
also go for your passion. Go for your
Yeah,
passion, because I do
yeah.
believe what Bashar said, it will not ever steer you in the wrong direction. And when we mean passion, it doesn't mean just getting drunk every night. What really drives you? And my passion at this point is, I can't say understanding the UFO phenomena, but understanding the process of awakening a new humanity within
Mm,
relationship to this other presence that we have
mm.
yet to cognize in any sense of understanding. We don't know what this is. And I would say, I'm not going to say we may never know, but I think we can know, but we have to change our way of thinking,
Mhm.
even using some of the tools that Swami was aware of, and some of the ways of being that a lot of the masters, Eastern masters,
Yeah.
knew about. There's other ways of being
Yeah. Well, and
that
Swami
aren't.
even talked about, the idea of other beings and other intelligences in the universe that we can connect with, it wasn't like at the forefront of his teachings or anything, but there's mention of it for sure. And I'll just go out on a limb here and say that, what I feel is true about my connection with Swami stems from one significant Earth life, but mostly from ET lives.
Mostly
So
what? You said mostly what?
mostly from ET lives. So we'll just leave that here for the audience.
No, so there's so much more to say. I mean, the
Yeah.
sad part is, of course, or maybe not, that he felt like, even back in that interview that I did in 2000, or yeah, I think it's 2000, with Swami at the ashram, he felt like he had completed a lot of his teachings. And I was just saying it's too bad he's no longer on the planet, but maybe he did feel complete, you know. Um, you
Well, and
know,
it's beautiful to see how many of his students are carrying on the legacy, and how many people, like me, are at a later date finding the lineage, finding the practices, and are able now to engage in them in a way that is more of a formal initiation because of all of the work that his students have done, since his passing. So it's no coincidence to me that that's happening. It's all playing out the way it was supposed to. And he left behind an incredible legacy. When we think about it, um, these are the mantra systems that Jesus used. These are some of the most incredible spiritual tools, at our disposal for this time of change on earth. And I'll just say another thing out loud that I shared in a workshop last month. This also is about divine power, and with power comes responsibilities. Energy mean in your life? Like, how are you going to utilize that? How are you going to, embody that in a way that is of service, at the highest level possible? And so it's an incredible thing to contemplate and integrate. And I think it humbles us very quickly to engage with this sort of information.
well, Yeah, no, I think it's great that you found a path, Jenna, that resonates with you. But what's your big picture here? Yes, you want to learn as much about Kaleshwar's system, but what are you gonna what do you want to do with it? That's what I guess want to know.
Good question, Alan. You can have me on your show and interview me soon if you want.
Yes, yes, yes.
um, the ultimate goal for me in this whole journey has been to reach a level of wholeness where I do know, that I know the truth of reality. I know the truth of myself and my soul at like the deepest levels, and have like at a cellular level, like gone through that transformation so that I can help others. That was the whole point of starting Star Family Wisdom. It was partially about my journey initially, but also to share the wisdom practices that I was engaging that were coming back to me as I was going through these extraordinary past life recalls, and to support others in their transformation. So, I think ultimately, you can say the goal is enlightenment or this or that, but we engage in this stuff to heal the world, but it starts with us. It starts with us, and excavating, all of the parts of ourselves that have been attached to negativity, that have, been programmed in ways that are not in alignment with the divine, structure of the universe. And so there is a massive effort afoot, around deprogramming ourselves and reprogramming ourselves. And I think we're at a critical juncture in humanity where we're poised to make a quantum leap. And I know that part of my destiny is, with Star Family Wisdom, running this mystery school, but also to just help be a connector, around this topic too, and support people in finding the practices and information and encourage them to go as far as possible to make that quantum leap. We've got to make a quantum leap as humans right now for our collective survival. And so this is, it started for me as just a healing journey, but then it turned into remembering, like what my soul has done in other lifetimes, and remembering what I'm here to do. And then also to just like be fearless in the transformation process, and to some extent be an example of that, and share openly about what it's like, and the hard, the good, bad, and the ugly, all of it, because it's a major transformation that's required, for a lot of us. So yeah, the ultimate goal is to just be of service in the ways that I'm called to, and continue down my path of transformation.
Beautiful. Well, you are a bhakti, you're a service here for the service of the divine. And I really see a transformation. Actually, since you've met the whole Kaleshwar teachings, I said that before, but you definitely seem more at peace, more present, more loving, more open.
Not for the faint of heart, for sure, but it's,
why?
boy, it's worth it.
But when you say that, why? What comes up for you that makes it tough? I mean,
well, I think, anytime we are serious about healing and transforming, we have to meet our shadow. We've got to meet those parts of ourselves that have been living in distortion. Like we're doing soul retrieval, through these processes in a sense. And to be able to harness and call in our full soul power, that requires us getting rid of all the other stuff we've been carrying, all the trauma, all the wounds, all the negative programming, all the baggage, all of the limiting beliefs, and excavating that, meeting it, clearing it, releasing it is not pleasant sometimes. Like you go through major emotional releases and stuff. And so, yeah, it's just good to be prepared for that for anyone who's on the path, because all that stuff's going to come up, and you got to deal with it. And that's tough stuff sometimes, but it's part of the process.
No, thanks for sharing that part. You're right. You're
Yeah.
right. That
Like
helps.
the amount of tears I have cried over the last few years as I've been engaging this transformation process, like the amount of grief and stuff I've had, to sit with, just, as it was coming up to clear, like, whoa, like, did not see all of that coming. But I'm so grateful for it all.
Well, I could share more. Let's do some more of
Yeah,
this.
let's do another chat soon. I'm so grateful for you, Alan.
Thank you. I'm curious about the next people in the Kaleshwar series you're going to be talking to, and
Yeah, yeah, stay tuned. We're going to have a fun series of guests coming up and some solo episodes where I'll continue to share about my journey and things that feel important. But yeah, this is the beginning of a hopefully long journey and just a place to hold space, for these sorts of conversations and remember Swami Sri Kaleshwar and talk about transformation and what's possible so that we can support each other in this massive transformation that's happening. Thank you for being on the show. I'm so grateful that you shared so much of your heart and memories and wisdom from your time knowing Swami. And if you had one piece of advice for the audience during these times of change on the planet, what would that be?
well, just think about some of the things Swami would say. He said it's okay to grab power. If you go to a power spot, if you have a power object, pull that power into you, grab it, hook it. It's here to hook. It's always talking about hooking the Shakti, hooking the energy. And it's like, okay to go for hooking the energy, to taking what is being offered to you. And, he would encourage people to do that, not be afraid of that energy and really bring it into you. And we have so much available to us, and we have to just feel we're worthy of our divine connection.
Mm.
That was something I don't think Swami knew that. He already knew that, and he was already beyond that in a way where it's like, okay, got that one. Now I'm just going to help others in a sense, and in that way, he had completed a karmic pattern for himself, probably. So, but we're here, I think, in this evolutionary time to use a lot of the tools the masters have given us, even the Star Family Wisdom Masters. All of these are masteries to bring humanity back into wholeness, bring ourselves back into wholeness, live in harmony with the earth, and welcome the unknown, welcome the bizarre, the unthinkable, the unimaginable, the impossible into our reality. And then we wake up to the greater picture of who we really are. And we're at the threshold of a magical, limitless, luminal transformation of ourselves, the human race, and possibilities that will bring humanity into what I said, joy. We're working on it. It's a
Mm.
collective group effort. So I'm
Mm.
happy
What
about,
what
yes.
what a good note to end on.
Mm.
And well said. Well said. The mission is joy, bringing joy back into our lives and healing the planet, finding harmony.
And love and wisdom. I mean, and compassion. Like the vow of the Bodhisattva is no one wakes up until everyone wakes up. Um, and that's probably true because we're all entangled with each other in levels of consciousness. So
Yeah.
there's so much new that is coming to the planet, Jenna, with the awakening of a disclosure reality. That's like, wow, that's the unknown coming into form. And that's what
What
I'm excited about. Yeah.
what a time to be alive on earth, you know?
Yes. What a
Oh my
time to
goodness.
experience.
Oh my
It is
goodness.
the new realities, like my kind of code says, my little
Yeah. It's
input into the
happening. It's here. The new reality is here. And yeah, this lineage, these practices are in many ways the new reality. So thank you everyone for tuning in today and following along on my journey and Alan's journey. Alan, thank you for your wisdom. It was just a delight to talk to you.
Thank you. Thank you, Jenna. Thanks for your
Thank you,
commitment.
Alan.
Truth.
Thank you. And for those who are just tuning in, check out the episodes we just released so that you can catch up, and we'll see you in the next episode. Bye for now.